What's up, guys? Yesterday we were talking about the bullish scenario and bullish arguments about the price action with Bitcoin, and today we will look at the opposite, the bearish arguments and bearish scenario, and what is the logic behind it. So, well, first of all, it is clear that we are in the downtrend channel. This is hard to argue with. We have the lower highs, we have lower lows, and technically until the point when we will break this channel to the upside, we can't say that we actually changing the trend, right? Moreover, if we look at the major moving averages, 200, 150 days moving average, they are in the order of the classic bearish trend. So the higher order moving average is higher. So this is 200, 150 days moving average, and the price actually below all three of them. We have death crosses happen before that. So technically, again, we are in the very classical downtrend. Another important thing about the reversal, so whether we had this reversal at $6,500, is that we have usually, well, like 99% cases, two types of reversals. First is through the V-shape reversal, something like that. Well, of course, it's just a rough drawing, but the idea is very similar. So we have the accelerated move to the downside, very low value. Here, we should have a huge amount of volume, much higher than we have around here, because especially if we look at the other exchanges, which I also mentioned yesterday, while on the marginal exchanges, the leverage trading exchanges, we can see some comparable volume, but let's say Bitstamp, you see here is this volume is not so big comparing to the one which we had at the highest point. Coinbase, the same, and so on and so forth. So the idea is we need to see really huge volume everywhere on all the exchanges, with spot as well, and we don't see it at the moment. Moreover, we don't see the acceleration of the drop. So here we have just the lower lows. You can see that this drop was pretty much the same as this one, and like here as well was pretty much similar, and we don't see something as we had, let's say, in 2018, like this, which was another signature of the potential reversal, which we had like 50% drop after more or less stable period. But here, no, we don't have that. So first of all, of course, we don't have at least this reversal on the V-shape type scenario. And second possibility is the reversal through the accumulation, long period of sideways price action with low volume, but here huge players could accumulate their positions to the long. And again, this would mean only one important thing, that we will not have a strong move to the upside just yet, because with that, those huge players will not be able to get their coins, their bitcoins, at the lower price. So you see, at least we don't have the move to the upside anytime soon. And at most, we probably will continue to go lower to see that volume happen. And actually, it is often happens that we have the V-shape and then accumulation in this kind of scenario. So it's pretty much reasonable to expect that thing. Now I would like to point out an interesting correlation. If we will move to, let's say, a weekly time frame, then you will see that somewhere in 2018, when we had this bear market, we had these tops of the previous spikes around here, 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 and let's say we can also point out the level of $6,500 as the important one. Of course, those are the levels which were important in the previous market, so you can't really say that they are like of the major significance right now, but still it's a very interesting correlation. So let's say this level is almost the same level as the candle's body stops around here. This one is important level of support in this area and resistance here. This level is again critical level at this zone, and we broke it below that, and after that we had this massive drop to $6,500, and even $6,500 played as a support in this area. So you may say that this is actually a huge sideways channel when we can get some reaccumulation, redistribution of coins one way or another. And technically, again, this area is kind of a overbought area, this area is overbought, this is oversold, so you might expect to have another oversold area below $6,500. Where could it be? Maybe like $5,500, but still it is reasonable to expect it to behave in a similar manner. Of course, we can look at many indicators. Let's say the MACD on the monthly time frame, it just printed the death cross, well, bearish crossover, let's say here, and the same happened over here when we had the obvious bear market and we expanded it lower and lower, and then also in previous cycle you can find it here also in the bear market. So it is a very strong, or yet maybe a little bit lagged indication of the downtrend. Fisher transform on the monthly time frame also some time ago printed the bearish crossover, and yeah, it is a quite of inertial indicator, so probably it will continue to go lower. You can go to, let's say, Heikin Ashi representation and see that, yeah, we have 4 red candles, pretty similar as we had here, so no indication of the potential reversal, for example, as we had here, and so on and so forth. Even our BitMEX funding rate indicator, let's say we will look at the daily time frame. Technically, we are in the negative zone, which usually is followed by the rise in the price like here, and I told that before. However, even if we'll have this rise in price, then would it be the major reversal? Well, you can see that this was the size of the negative value of this indicator when we had the reversal previously in the end of 2018, and right now, well, we don't have that much. So as soon as the price will go lower, let's say to $5,000, then everybody will panic, probably will get more and more Bitcoin sold, maybe opening shorts, and then at that point it would be worth moving price to the upside. No, but not yet right now. Also, I must say that recently we have an enormous rise in number of longs on Bitfinex, and yet it is different, of course, on different exchanges. Let's say BitMEX is almost like 50-50, Binance 50-50, but Bitfinex is like 85 to 15%. It's very, very huge difference, and it happens just almost without any change to the downside. Of course, you may argue that those might be the longs from smart money, but it's very unlikely that they will open those positions on Bitfinex. Usually they play through the OTC market somehow, so probably those are just some medium players. And yeah, if the price will go much lower, that would be exactly the volume, the liquidity which market requires to get a reversal. And in fact, you can compare the ratio of longs and shorts recently happened with the price action. So you see, this was the longs to shorts on Bitfinex before the dump in the price. This was another example, price dump, and now we're having very similar thing once again. Of course, if the trend will be broken, this is the events happening during the correction period, then we might not see the move to the downside after this rise in this ratio. But again, so far it played out in this way. Another thing which I was going to point out is the indicator of hash ribbons, basically the moving averages of the hash rate. And if you remember, we were looking at this indicator some time ago around here when we had the drop. After that, we're actually close to that in the end of November, and then we actually look at this red zone similar to what we had in end of 2018 when we dropped from $6,000 to $3,000, and this is a so-called capitulation of the miners. So we are still in the same red zone, although a little bit more hopium at the moment, so it is getting less wide, so narrowing, but still technically we are in a very dangerous situation right now. And finally, although there are many other small moments to point out, I just want to mention our SOPR indicator. If you remember, we were looking at this indicator for many times so far, and in fact it played out very nicely in a long term. So when we have these indicator values below 1, it is a sign of the bearish market, and we probably will go even lower. If the indicator is above 1, we are in a bull market. And now recently we have like several consecutive highs which are below 1, and every time we have a pullback from this level, it is in a confirmation of the fact fact that we are in the territory controlled by bears. Of course, all of that doesn't mean that we definitely need to go lower, but those arguments are reasonable, they make sense, and this is you who need to define which are the most reasonable ones, have the bigger weight, those which we looked at yesterday or those which we looked at today. Me myself, well, I will tell you what I think about this tomorrow in the next video, but for today, I guess that is it. I hope that it will be useful. Thank you for watching.